welcome back everyone. I'm Rufus Shinra and this is a new Raid Shadow Legends video. We're going to be talking about two main topics today, one being a few build ideas to help you use Tomb Lord after his recent buff to solo some content, and the second will be discussing Plarium's response to the whole Brogni nerf/buff/modification affair. We're going to be talking about those things in detail, so feel free to choose whichever topic you want, either both or any one of the two. You have the links in the timeline below. Leave a subscription if you haven't. You know I must ask that because if I don't get subscribers, and you've been great at supporting me lately, so thanks again for that. And without any further ado, we'll just dive into these topics. So quickly starting off with Tomb Lord, just to reacquaint you with this fine gentleman in case you don't know him. So he's a legendary from the Night Revenant faction who has been able to solo content for quite a while now since his last rework. He will just now be even better, and the gear requirements in my opinion have dropped a little bit. So his A1 is a 3-hitter, so perfect candidate for Giant Slayer, places a 30% decreased speed on the target for 2 turns if the attack is critical. Just as a side note, my Tomb Lord is fully booked, so we might take that into consideration for the success rate of the build. His A2 is his bread and butter damage dealing ability. He attacks one enemy. After books, he has a 100% chance of placing 2 poisons on all enemies for 2 turns. If he crits, those 2 poisons become 4, and you can immediately see why he's this good. So then this ability is on a 3-turn cooldown after books. Blight, again an amazing ability. He decreases the turn meter of all enemies with less than 50% HP, and has a 100% chance of placing both decreased attack and decreased defense on all enemies, and also gets an extra turn if he manages to place his decreased turn meter. So a lot of things: decreases turn meter, attack and defense, and gains an extra turn. It used to be on 6 turns cooldown before books. Now it's on 5-turn cooldown, so which makes it 4-turn cooldown. The Aura, we're not interested much in it today because we won't be taking him through Doom Tower, but that could also be handy. So yeah, this is the team that I will be using him with, just farming a bunch of food in Dragon. I'll leave you with the run and we'll meet back right later to break down the stats and masteries. Alright, so just a couple of things to point out as we are watching this run. First being that the original idea for the gear on the comp for the specific sets that are used goes to YouTuber Game Blow. He's a Russian YouTuber. I'll leave the link to his channel in the description below. Give him some support. He's making some pretty cool content. I'm using the AR presets to make Tomb Lord prioritize his A2 rather than his A3 because we want the mobs to take turns so that they get damage from the poison. Besides that, it can look pretty risky at times. It can seem that Tomb Lord is about to die, which might very possibly happen, I don't know. But this is just to give you an idea of the general range of stats you would need to make this happen. And I'm pretty sure you'll be surprised. And I'll meet you back for the breakdown of the results as well as the gear and masteries. Alright, so in just about 2 minutes we were doing it. So I've seen him do it in 1 minute 50 sometimes, depending on the RNG of the extra turn proc. So he did 7 million damage to basically all the enemies. We got this piece. Doesn't look too bad. I'll keep it. Thank you. And let's go now check the build. So I will show the stats in RSL helper format, which is a little bit better and easier to read. So we have a weapon here. As you can see, it's not even rolled to 12. So he's in crit rate glove, resistance chest, defense boots, and a defense banner. So just to show you that it's fairly easy to get the stats that are required. So here his debuff accuracy is actually too low. I just noticed that, so we need a little bit, we need at least 20 more, so that we're running at 200 accuracy. I could get that by glyphing something here or there. You need close to 300 resistance, but as you've seen, 267 works against the mobs at least. 100% crit rate is a must, so here I'm overcapped. And speed, I'd say the minimum would be more 150-ish, but 160 is still safe. 3k defense, anywhere north of 43, 45k HP. So, and these are the masteries that we have on him. I will break them down one by one. Okay, so we took the offense tree all the way down to Giant Slayer because of his A1. I went for Life Drinker because it always gives you a little bit of a boost to your health. Whirlwind of Death is very important because you're going with food, so this will increase your speed by 18, which is always fun to save up on those other stat slots. This I just chose it, yeah, it ups your attack, but just chose it to get as quickly to Giant Slayer as I could. On the support tree, we're going for accuracy masteries. I went for Exalting Death, so this is a little bit different from the original build I saw. I tried to tweak it for a little bit more survivability. And here we get Arcane Celerity to get always that boost for our speed. Lore of Steel, as you know, can help improve the set bonus from your sets, basically from the Immortal. And here we have Cycle of Magic to get some extra cooldowns with the RNG because we will be farming food a lot, so this counts in the long run. Spirit Haste, again, 8 additional points of speed for each dead ally, which is 24 added to the previous 18. So we're at 42 additional speed here. And finally, Master Hexer to add some more poisons, defense down and attack down. So yeah, this is our Tomb Lord. As you can see, the stats are fairly achievable, and I don't have very difficult pieces to obtain. So here I'm using this weapon. As you can see, I have pretty good roll on resistance on the helmet, some crit rate. The rest does not matter a lot. Here's some defense, some crit rate. I could do without the crit rate gloves, but I just wanted to show you that you could achieve this build even with crit rate gloves. So ideally here you want some survivability stat, defense or HP. So depending on what you have, as long as you can get his crit rate to 100%, you're good. I again decided to use a resistance chest to show that there is no need to get some extra high rolls. I could have always gone for one of my pieces with quad resistance in the roll and then gone again for HP percent or defense percent, which is what I would recommend if you do have any of those pieces. The boots could be defense or could be HP, so again, you have full control over what kind of stats these pieces need to have. It's all a matter of trying to pull it off with these two sets and with stats that are close to the ones that you see on screen. Okay, so now that the showcase for Tomb Lord is over, we will move on to the piece of news that we got from Plarium, and we'll go through that together. Let's see. Alright, so this just in. It's a long wall of text, so we'll try to avoid reading continuous paragraphs as much as I can. However, so it's a pretty big wall of text sent here by Green Knight earlier on the Discord server. I will try my best to avoid just reading some whole paragraphs, but we might have to because the wording is very important here and some words need to be examined. So, hello Raiders, since we're seeing a lot of questions and worries regarding the recent changes, so they say that they hear us, that the whole GEOMANCER thing has reached their ears and they are ready to explain what happened. So, they are explaining that they came to a decision to rework GEOMANCER's skill, not because GEOMANCER was OP, but according to them, the detection of in-game crashes and freezes by our internal tool. So what they're saying here is that the reason that they're changing GEOMANCER is not a rebalance, it's a bug fix, and the bug was GEOMANCER crashing the game, basically. Kind of shoddy explanation and still a little bit of a dodge in my opinion. So, but let's read on. So that's why they had to blah 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 make it so that the damage from his passive no longer triggers certain masteries: War Master, Giant Slayer. So basically Giant Slayer is the mastery that we were using. So we totally understand. There was a lot of confusion when Geomancer's changes, yeah, there was, were found in the rebalance section after the release went live, not in the bug fixes. So where it should have been, if this explanation, if we are to believe you, it should have been at least listed in the bug fixes as soon as the change was implemented. So they say it happened due to our oversight, and we apologize for confusing you with this information. So it's a pretty big change, and it's a pretty big oversight, not to mention it. I still believe they were trying to stealth change him, because this is not the first time. Normally we put all bug fixes into the release note after the release and do not include them in the update highlights. That is true. If there are bug fixes, they don't need to be included in the update highlight, they're just listed in the bug release. But even that could change. You could improve on that. If you know exactly what you're going to do with the game, just tell us ahead of time. Easy. Let's move to the next point. Based on the internal statistics, we decided to rework Geomancer's passive skill so that the new effect worked like War Master and not Giant Slayer, without actually triggering his mastery. So since according to our data, the majority of players used War Master instead of Giant Slayer, which is a mistake made by the majority of players based on how the champion works, but again, not everyone watches YouTube, not everyone watches or reads Reddit threads, so that's why we decided to take the path in order to make it more convenient for the players. However, we saw all the feedback from the community. Wow, that's a first. And with today's server restart, we tweaked Geomancer's passive skill to replace the effect of War Master with one that emulates Giant Slayer mastery. So here he just goes on about explaining how it will work. So it will work basically exactly as it did before. It will not be a Giant Slayer proc, but it will have a chance to proc per hit and not just per general attack. It's lowered to 30% chance, but it can proc every attack, and the damage was lowered to 3% instead of 4%. So basically Giant Slayer without having Giant Slayer. Alright, we could work with that. So I haven't tested him, but I'm sure that there will be plenty of videos giving us empirical data on how well he does now versus how well he did before. They continue saying from now on Geomancer's passive skill will work as if supplied with Giant Slayer. Alright, but there's an important sentence here. Unfortunately, there is one side effect to the fix that cannot be avoided. The new passive will not allow healing from lifesteal or leech debuff. So this is a big sentence here. This is the crux of one of the cruxes of this issue. So he used to be able to proc lifesteal heals and leech debuff heals with his passive, meaning that as soon as the boss hits him, he can get top up and survive longer. So they say that nevertheless Geomancer Geomancer, let's call him Geomancer for the day. So he became Geomancer. Geomancer will still be able to heal from his active skills. Yes, basically his A1 and his A2 every 3 turns. Our ultimate goal was to maintain the damage dealt by this champion to the clan boss on the same level. So why is this sentence important? So indeed, they are maintaining, or apparently on paper, they're maintaining the damage at the same level, but the damage is not just a function of how the output that you deal, or your offensive output. It's also a function of how long you survive to be able to deal that damage that you have. So if you die sooner, your damage will be lower, even if you still deal the same amount of damage per hit. We were striving to implement the change in such a way so that Geomancer won't suffer because of the fix we had to make. I still feel that he did suffer specifically because of this. So if you're using an unkillable team, this is not an issue for you. If you are not using an unkillable team, and this is the case for a lot of players, if you're using a counterattack team or a defense-based team or any kind of team that relies on trying to survive for a long time against the clan boss, this will hurt you. To which extent, I don't know. It depends on your team. Some teams will be less affected than others if you have people like Brogni or Valkyrie with her huge shields. But if you were relying on lifesteal or leech to heal back your Geomancer to respectable levels, this will
will kind of affect you. So even in unkillable teams, I'm tempted to say if you're working a budget unkillable with a Geomancer as a stun target, I don't know. This could affect the tuning. Not sure. I don't want to say anything I will have to take back later. So let's go for the last sentences. Last but not least, all players who received negative results on CB after hitting them with the Geomancer in the team will get compensation. Does that mean I'm going to get compensation because I hit yesterday for 2 billion points? My Geomancer, right after they implemented the fix, hit for a measly 50 mil. So yeah, I demand compensation. It will be delivered to all accounts who suffered from the bug. We'll let you know as soon as it is sent to your account. Okay, fair enough. So let's see. We need to know how they will be able to determine that, but I trust Plarium has all the key information to do it. We'll keep you updated. Have a great day ahead. Okay, so that was a little bit of a long read, but again, the main things that that I personally derive from this is, well, they did listen for once. They had a very respectable approach. They addressed the problem head on, even if they tried to dribble around it a little bit. They still admitted to their fault, and they're listening to the feedback, and they're changing their decision based on the feedback. So this is it a first? No. I think it happened in the past, but this is one of those rare occasions where it happens. Is it a whole ploy of misdirection to make people forget about the daily login rewards change, the Eurogrim change, and all the other points of contention? Maybe, maybe not. But if we judge things at face value and just take a look at how they are dealing with this situation, I'm just talking about the way they're dealing with it. Great way. This should be the way that they deal with every single situation of this amplitude. So now, as for the contents of the announcement itself, it does seem to be it does look to me that they still are ignoring, that they are still not. It does look to me that the fix that they're introducing will not tackle the problem in its entirety, specifically the part about the passive not proccing Giant Slayer and Leech. That's something that will definitely impact the damage output, but we will have to see that. The last part is decompensation. I'm really curious to see how they go about it, and if the compensation will satisfy people who were complaining. Okay, so that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you like this format with the double feature. I didn't want to make a separate video for each one of these topics since they came so close. So hopefully you will find a bit of everything in here. If you're interested in raid news, you will find some. If you are interested in the guide for Tomb Lord, you will find something for you as well. So with that said, let me know a few things. First, do you have a Tomb Lord, and if so, how are you going to build him to solo your dragon? Or are you going to solo other things with him? And also, what do you think about this response from Plarium? If you're a Geomancer user, were you impacted significantly by this nerf? What's the team you're using and how much damage are you doing now? Plenty of questions. Pick the one you would like to answer, leave a comment, and press that like button. And subscribe to help grow the Shinra family bigger and better. Thank you very much. I will see you in my next upload.